So I'm Dan, been in digital marketing and media for 20 plus years, specializing in e-commerce and retail marketing, and currently run Brand Hopper Digital based in downtown Wilmington. So at Brand Hopper Digital, we grow Shopify stores. We started in e-commerce about 4 years ago, just doing design and development for Shopify businesses. And after we would design and develop websites, our clients would say, hey, this is awesome. You built a beautiful site for us. Our conversion rates are better. Our average order value is higher. Things are great. How do we get more traffic? How do we get more sales? So then we started to spin off other services. And now we are a full service digital marketing agency for Shopify business. As part of our growth, focusing initially on e-commerce, we have naturally started working with local retail businesses who wanted to grow their online sales more and their in-store foot traffic. So we've learned a whole lot over the past few years doing this, and we wanted to share that with our community. So we're going to talk through a lot of different content. I'm going to speak pretty quickly. If there's any questions, fire them out. We're going to start with 3 ways to grow any business: retail, B2B, B2C. We're going to talk about omni-channel marketing, which is super important for retail businesses. We'll talk about common mistakes we see with local retailers, either retailers that we start working with or just connect with. We audit a lot of Shopify stores, and we have a lot of experience looking for opportunities in marketing for Shopify businesses, whether it's e-commerce or offline. So there's a few mistakes that we constantly see from local retailers specifically. We'll talk about different growth stages of Shopify businesses specifically related to retail, along with something we'll call a money machine, and we'll have some time for questions at the end of this. So first way to grow a business, this is what everybody thinks of. When new business owners or business owners are thinking about growing a business, the first thing people think about is, how do we get more customers? That's the number one thing. It's the first thing that comes to people's mind. It's a great way to grow a business. However, it's expensive because marketing is typically a pretty significant cost for most businesses, and the cost to acquire a new customer can be pretty expensive. So we'll talk through different ways for each of these strategies to grow your business, and we'll focus on a couple different ones. In general, ways to grow your customer base, regardless of if you're a local retailer, an e-commerce business, or a B2B or B2C company. There's a few common ways: search engine marketing, or SEM, that's paid Google ads typically; search engine optimization, that's optimizing your website so you can rank organically for keywords that people search for; social media marketing, that could be TikTok ads, Facebook ads, Instagram ads; print, radio, outdoor, billboards, indoor or outdoor. Influencer marketing has become pretty big over the past few years and continues to grow pretty quickly. And then there's also partnerships, referrals. There's lots of other ways to do this, but these are some of the most common ones and most scalable ways to grow by getting new customers. So something that is important for every business today is organic social media. Lots of social media platforms are no longer just places where people consume content. They will actually search for products, and they will search for businesses, and they will research companies. So even if you're not doing an outbound organic social media strategy, it's important to have enough depth and breadth and frequency of content. So if people are searching for your brand, they know that you're still around. They see that you're posting content, and you'll be more likely to rank for any potential searches. You also ideally will get in front of new customers by posting content to organic social media. Now, these are called social media platforms, but really, mostly thanks to TikTok, we're now seeing these platforms more as content platforms than social platforms, because most of these platforms, Instagram Reels, TikTok, even YouTube Shorts, it's not about connecting with other people. It's really about entertaining or educating yourself through content. So the good thing is, if you are just starting out, or even if you don't have a big presence, it's not about followers anymore. It's about creating excellent content so that your content can rank, and then these platforms can amplify that content and show it to more and more people. So for organic social media, we typically recommend short form video content. That's the stuff that's going to be the best bang for your buck. What does that mean? TikTok videos, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts. Those are typically the best placements that you can run, because there's a lot of consumption of those types of placements. Consumers across social or content media platforms are looking for that video content. They're consuming a ton of it, so it's important to create the type of content that people are searching for. Something else we'll talk about later on, but paid advertising. Paid advertising is an amazing way to get new customers. The platforms have changed a lot over the past few years and certainly the past couple decades. And these platforms really are leveraging more AI and automation than they were in the past. So if we were going to talk about paid advertising 2 years ago, we would likely talk about lots of different manual inputs that need to be uploaded to the platforms, lots of different manual targeting sets that you would have to create, lots of research. And now it's a bit more automated. And to set up campaigns the way that we might have done it 2 years ago is not the best way we should do this stuff today. So if you are just starting to get into paid advertising, there's a few things that you want to do to make sure that you're set up for success. The first thing is uploading accurate and thorough data into your e-commerce platform. If you're on Shopify, that's great. If you're using WooCommerce or a different platform, it doesn't really matter. You just want to make sure that the product data and the business information you're updating into those platforms is thorough and complete. That means have accurate product names, accurate descriptions for your products, accurate attributes for your products. The reason why you want to do that is because when you run paid ads, you can connect your e-commerce website directly to the biggest platforms in the world. So you can connect them to Meta, you can connect them to TikTok, you can connect them to Google. And then when you run paid advertising, these platforms will pull in your product data from your e-commerce platform and then show the right ad to the right person at the right time because of that. So if you're in apparel and you're selling a red dress, make sure you add the right attributes about that dress within your e-commerce platform so that when you run ads, let's say on Google, Google will show an ad to somebody searching for that particular red dress and not a blue dress. If you add the wrong data, it's going to mess up your whole marketing flow. Garbage in, garbage out definitely applies to this. You also want to leverage those direct connections between the biggest media platforms because it'll make your life easier. Instead of setting up conversions and pixels manually, you can often do that with some direct connections, and it makes it a lot easier to do so. And also you want to leverage automation. The days of doing lots and lots of manual research analysis and targeting, they're not over. We still do that, but you want to leverage automation where you can. Something else, regardless of the platform you're on, whether you are running ads on a billboard, in broadcast, in print, through Meta or TikTok, there's a few things you want to have that are pretty tight. First is you have to have a good offer. If people don't want what you're selling, if you don't have a product or a service that meets a need, it's going to be really hard to sell and market that service or product. So you want to have a good offer, and you want to test lots of different things. Buy one, get one, bundling, holiday promotions, whatever it is. You want to figure out a good carrot to dangle in front of potential customers so they're going to be more likely to come into your store or purchase from your business online or sign up for gathering in additional information. Let's say if you're in lead generation and you want to collect more customer info and contact information, have a big enough carrot that you can dangle so that you can get them over the hump and submit that information. Targeting, you definitely want to make sure all the right checkboxes are applied for geo-targeting, keyword targeting, audience targeting. There's lots of different ways you can get in front of people, but you want to make sure you're starting out with your best foot forward by targeting the right people from the start. And last up is messaging. You need to be very specific with your copy and have strong copywriting. Lots of the platforms now are leveraging the copy that you use in your advertising as a signal to direct who the ad will be served to. So in some cases, we'll actually set up campaigns that are just targeting the USA. So super broad targeting. We're targeting hundreds of millions of people, but then the copy in the ad will direct who is going to be shown that ad. Here's a few examples of ads we have run for some of our e-commerce and retail businesses. And the key thing we want to walk through here is really just to show the variety and breadth of ads that can work extremely well. So the ad all the way on the right is a boomerang. It's basically like a homemade backyard boomerang, very simple. The ad right next to that is from an influencer that we work with to create content. The ad to the left is a static image, and the two ads all the way to the left are just text. All of these can work great. So if you are going to run paid ads, you want to have a variety of creative assets because we never know what's going to pop or what's going to work super well. So you want to test lots of different creative assets, sets of copy, analyze, and then optimize over time. The next way to grow business, outside of getting new customers, which can be expensive, is getting more transactions from every customer that you already have. So if on average, every time you sell a product for a whole year, you're selling to each person you sell to them one time, it's not gonna be as good if you get each person to buy from you twice. All of a sudden you've doubled your sales. If everything else remains consistent, you don't have additional marketing cost, but you can get that customer to buy time and time again. So things like subscriptions for e-commerce can work incredibly well. There's a reason why Amazon puts so much emphasis onto the buy and save, the subscribe and save program. It's because once they acquire a customer one time, you can get value every month if people are on that cycle of purchasing time and time again. Smart, savvy business owners, when they are marketing, if they have some type of subscription or if they know the repeat purchase rate, what they can do is they can actually afford to lose money on the first sale. And by doing that, they can invest more in their marketing and then make it up on the second transaction and the third transaction, the fourth transaction, versus a business owner who is going to stop short of their marketing. And if they don't understand their full marketing costs, they might not invest as much as they need to, and they will get their lunch eaten by the competitor who is willing to invest knowing what the full lifetime value of their customer is. So some ways to increase transactions from each customer. Email and SMS marketing, we'll talk more about email and SMS, but those are great ways to get customers to purchase time and time again. Doing some type of loyalty or VIP program, hosting events for current clients or customers. Packaging inserts is great. There's a big opportunity for local retailers to add more packaging inserts to the bags after they are selling customers a product, and then subscriptions, which we talked about. Cool, so email and SMS. Lots of people will say email is dead, which is pretty hysterical because lots of e-commerce businesses specifically can make around 30 to 40% of their revenue from email if their subscriber base is big enough. So the best way to do that, first you need to build a list. And there's no better time to start building a list than other than yesterday is today. So if you're not already building a list, you need to start doing that. And you want to do it in a couple ways. You don't just want to think about building your list online, you also want to do it offline. So online, we see lots of business owners, they might have an opt-in pop-up. Oftentimes it's pretty boring and the opt-in rates aren't great, but at least they're doing that, so that's a good thing. But then in store, lots of retailers are not capitalizing on collecting information, whether it's an email or a phone number that they can use to market to those customers time and time again. We do see retailers doing it when people purchase, but an average retail conversion rate could be, let's say, 20 to 30+% for in-store purchases, but that means 70 or 80% of people who are walking in your store are not buying. So you want to figure out a way to get them to share their contact information so you can then remarket to them time and time again. Things like having a giveaway in your shop or having people sign up for a raffle is a great way to get their contact information, and you can then send them follow-up messages over time. Email is great. SMS is better because the SMS performance metrics are typically a lot better than email, but consumers are less likely to give up their SMS number. So the ideal scenario is you do both. You collect email, you collect SMS, you use both of those channels to market, and then by doing that, you'll be able to capitalize on the better performance rates from SMS, but the higher volume you'll get from email. Make sure you have automations built out. A welcome flow, a post-purchase flow, and an abandoned cart flow are the three that nearly every retail and e-commerce business should have. There's lots of others, but those are the three that you'll likely get the best value from. And then make sure you're making offers. Too many business owners are shy about making offers to their email or SMS lists, and the SMS and email list sort of goes wasted because they're not using it. So if somebody signed up to get information about your product or service, you need to stay in front of them. You need to do that with email and SMS. However, there's a right and a wrong way to do it. If you just have offers all the time where you're just sending out sales messages and you're not adding any value, your list is going to get burnt out. So make sure when you are sending sales messages, you are also rotating in content that is educational or entertaining or something where you are adding value to your subscriber list, so they're not just getting messages about you asking them to buy your products. Some ways to do that are using FAQs that people have. So maybe there's questions people have about how to install your product or how to use it or how long does it last or what's your shipping policy or you can use all that stuff to send information about your product. You can share information about people using your product. You can share customer reviews and testimonials. All of that stuff can help you just have another touch point with your subscribers so that when they are ready to purchase, you will be top of mind for them. So here's an example of an email that we designed for an e-commerce business. Some things that you want to notice from this are quality does matter. You want to have high quality images and other content in your email. Can you just send a simple text message, a text only message over email? Yes. Can it work? Yes. But if you do that over and over again for most e-commerce or retail businesses, it's going to diminish the aesthetic quality of your brand. So in order to elevate your business, if you are selling goods or services that are somewhat aspirational or somewhat where you are trying to elevate the brand, which most businesses should be, unless you're in the super heavily discount business, like you operate a dollar store, this would be a little bit less important. But for most brands, you want to have email, SMS that matches the vibe of your brand. So at every touch point, consumers are reminded about your brand values, about the aesthetic, about the quality. So they are more likely to purchase and also more likely to spend more money when they purchase. Loyalty and VIP programs can work incredibly well. Once you have people's contact information, you can market to them time and time again. And as an added bonus, you can motivate them to spend more money with your business by offering something like points or discounts or reward ladders, something as simple as, having a VIP tier. If, your average order value is $400, maybe double that and say every customer who spends $800 plus each year gets a free gift. It's a super easy way to motivate people to spend more and reward your best customers who can then turn into ambassadors for your brand. You can also, with lots of loyalty and VIP programs, reward people when they share information about your business. Let's say if they post on Instagram or refer a friend, they can get points where they win, their friend wins, your business wins. So if you have a business or brand that sells a wide variety of products or products where people come back time and time again, a loyalty or a VIP program is a great thing to have. Packaging inserts. So lots of e-commerce businesses do this really well, where it's just sort of standard, where when they are building out packaging for their e-commerce brand, they are including some type of thank you note with some other information as part of the package that's getting sent out to that customer. We see lots of local retailers fail at this, and they might have a nice shopping bag, maybe there's some tissue paper, your products are wrapped up really nicely, but there is a huge opportunity to get in front of that customer when they get home and they pull out a beautiful thank you card that incentivizes them to do a few different things. You can do all of these or you can do some of these. You can promote an upcoming event to get them to come back into your store for some type of VIP event where you can then at that point sell to them again and again. You can ask them to refer friends to your business and motivate them for that. You can mention other products that you have and maybe have an offer where if they come back in and buy again in the next 7 days, you're gonna give them a free gift or something super cool. You can ask them to follow on your social media accounts. So there's a lot of cool stuff you can do with a packaging insert. So take advantage of that opportunity and don't just think when a customer buys from you one time, that's the end of it. Think of that as the beginning of a new relationship and you wanna maintain it. Third way to grow a business is to make more money per transaction. So we talked about getting new customers. We talked about getting more transactions per customer. Now we're going to talk about getting more money from each transaction. This is the lowest hanging fruit for retailers and e-commerce brands as well. There's different ways you can do this. First, simplest way is to increase your product prices. And you'd be surprised, we just increased product price for one of our clients over the past month. First, we increased it by about 15%. Yesterday, we increased it by about 20%. And guess what? Conversion rates actually increased. So now the brand owner is making more money without doing anything. ROAS improved, all the performance metrics improved, including conversion rate. So don't think that just because you increase price, all of a sudden your performance is going to drop. Sometimes it can actually do the opposite because people will associate your product as a higher value product as that price increases. So that's one simple way to do that. There's other ways to do it too. You can do upsells or cross sells. You can create bundles, things like buy X, get Y, discount ladders, loyalty programs, once again, are great ways to do that. So McDonald's is famous for a lot of different things, but one is the question, do you want fries with that? So that one question, depending on the data and who the reference is, you can find information that McDonald's makes about 15% to 40% of their revenue because of that question. So even if it's at the low end, even if it's half of that, that's billions of dollars McDonald's has added to their revenue numbers just with that one simple question. So homework for you, regardless of what business you have or what type of products that you have, how can you incorporate this, the you want fries with that question, with your brand? Online, there's lots of cool ways to do this. So there's different apps you can enable for Shopify or other platforms where you can have recommended products. So let's say if somebody adds one product to cart, then you can offer them another product. So simple example is businesses that are great at this in retail are men's formal wear shops. So if you go into a men's store and you say, I have an upcoming event, maybe I have a wedding or whatever the event is, and you say, I need a suit. They're gonna fit you for the suit, they're gonna get you everything you need, and right before you're checking out, they're gonna say, okay, great, now that you're ready to get this suit, you need some shirts to go with this because you got a new suit, you can't wear your old shirts, you need some shirts, so they're gonna fit you for a couple shirts. Once you get the shirts, oh, you know what's gonna look awesome with those shirts? You need a couple ties because you need a couple different colors, you can mix and match and do all that. Great, you get a couple ties. And then it's, oh, but you need socks. Oh wait, but you need it. So it just keeps stacking over and over. So somebody might come in to buy a suit for $400, but they walk out with $1,200 worth of apparel. So how can you do that with your business? Both in store, at the point when people are committing to making a purchase, you can do it at checkout, you can do it before checkout. A great way to do it is just when people are purchasing one product, ask them if they knew about this other product that pairs perfectly with that. Online, like I said, there's different apps you can do in addition to upsells or cross-sells where you are either promoting complementary products or bumping them to a higher level of product. You can also do bundles. So something like buy more, save more. Furniture stores are great at doing this. When you go into lots of furniture stores, instead of just buying a couch, which you can do, they will often promote a whole set of furniture. So you don't want to just go in and buy one couch. You want the whole living room set where you're getting the couch and the love seat and the coffee table and the end table. You need the whole thing. Once again, you went in to buy an $800 couch, but when done properly, if the retail person is going to help you get the best furniture for your house and do their job, they might tell you, hey, this couch is going to look amazing in your house, but it's going to conflict with the old furniture you have right next to it. So you need to buy the whole set. And guess what? By doing this whole set, you're actually going to save 25% on the whole thing. So you'll spend less on the couch. And yeah, there's this other stuff that comes with it. But now you don't have to worry about spending the time researching all the other stuff. It just comes as a set. So once again, think about for your business how you can create bundles to get a higher average order value, because the higher your average order value, the more money you're going to make and the more money you can invest in marketing profitably so you can grow faster. Cool, so let's take a break from growth for a minute and really talk about omni-channel selling and marketing, which is related to growth, and every local retailer should be thinking about this if you're not already. Omni-channel selling is an approach where we are taking an understanding of the customer journey, whether they are purchasing from you in store, online, through their phone, on their laptop, or however they are engaging with your brand. With an omni-channel approach, we can track that across the whole purchase pathway and the whole customer journey. And since the internet age came about, lots of retailers and businesses would think, hey, I've got my brick and mortar shop and I have customers who walk in and they buy from me in person. And then I have customers online that are, they've got their certain IP address, and maybe we're tracking them with cookies so we can see what they're doing online. But those are just imaginary people that we'll send products to, and they don't really exist. They're just imaginary people. But really, the consumer journey is complicated, and the same person who would walk into your store and purchase in store is the same person who might buy from you next week online. So it's important to not treat those two people as different people. It's the same person. So omni-channel marketing will allow you to communicate to people across all these different touch points, and studies have shown that when people are marketed to in an omni-channel way, they spend more money, they're more loyal to your business, and it just makes your life easier because you can track one customer across multiple different touch points. So there's a few different ways to do this, but the pillars of this, number one, are going to be collecting customer information. If you can track email or SMS in store and online, you can tie that customer together if you have a unified POS and e-commerce platform. So I will plug Shopify because lots of our local retailers are on Shopify, and Shopify makes it super easy where you can have your local in-store POS system on the same platform as your e-commerce system, which means when you are selling inventory, it's all managed in the same database. Your customer information is all in the same database, and you can recognize transactions whether people are buying online or in your store. When you're doing this, you should blend channels so that you can communicate with people in store. You can promote online activities, and online you can promote in-store events as well. That will allow you to show your customers that you understand their journey and that you are getting in front of them in multiple different ways. So here's an example of how you can leverage omni-channel marketing and the true customer experience and bring people both from in-store to the online experience and also doing it the other way, online to in-store. So let's take an example. So somebody walks into a retail store and you capture their email and their phone number. And whether they purchase or not, doesn't really matter. You're able to capture that information. Then from there, that kicks off a flow where you've got an email automation that says, thanks so much for stopping by our shop. We really appreciate you coming in. Here's some more information about our business. Maybe a few days later, you send out a weekly email broadcast or a weekly SMS. They get an alert about a new sale you're offering only online, and then they make a purchase online. So now you've blended that journey, started in store, and now you've sold to them online. You can also do it the other way. So here's a different experience. Maybe you have a local partnership with a cooperative business. So I know some local retailers will do, it's a cool thing, they all get together, and what they'll do is they'll spend a night where they each go to their stores, they're doing Instagram lives at each shop, and by doing that, they're able to share their audiences and hype up their audience and get people excited about all the different retail experiences. So you can build a partnership like that. When that happens, post as much content as you can, really hype up the event in front of your audience and the new shared audience with all of these other retailers. While you're doing this event, maybe you're going store to store and trying on some of the best apparel products or talking about some other products that some of the shop owners have, maybe yours and then the others. And you can do an Instagram live. So anybody in Instagram that's following you or these other shop owners will get notified about that. And then during that, you can promote buy online, pick up in store. BOPIS is the acronym. That's a great way to get somebody in store. And why would you want to do that? So if you are selling online, yeah, can you just ship somebody a product? Of course you can. But the experience of somebody getting a product is a lot more in-depth when you have them come into your store, because then you get to greet them, it's easier to promote other products, and it's just a more in-depth conversation you can have with somebody. So that's one way you can leverage the online experience where somebody starts online and then you get them into your store. Once again, same person, different journey, but that's a couple different ways where you can leverage omni-channel marketing and leveraging all the different touch points that consumers have with brick and mortar local retailers and regional retailers and national retailers as well. Okay, so let's go through some mistakes to avoid. We talked to lots of local retailers. We audit lots of local retail store marketing accounts, Shopify accounts, so we see lots of opportunities for growth. We also see a lot of mistakes, and we'll talk through a few different common mistakes that we see. First up, I can't tell you how many retail stores I have been to or retail brand owners we have connected with where they will show us, they'll do a store walkthrough live. Lots of our clients are outside of our local market, and so we'll do a Zoom call and they'll walk us through the store, and the store is beautiful and they're so proud of it. The aisles are clean, the products are set up perfectly. You can really tell you can tell a lot about the aesthetic and the brand values just by this walkthrough. And then you go online and the site looks really, really bad. We'll often see clutter, we'll see misspellings, we'll see broken links, we'll see 404 errors. We'll see that it's really hard to promote products. We often will ask, well, we'll always ask with every client and we'll always do an analysis of it. But in some cases, if we're not working with a client, we'll ask what their best sellers are. And most of the time, we'll see the best sellers that they mention are really hard to find on the site. So just like that omni-channel experience where you should realize that consumers are experiencing your business offline and online, it's the same person, you want to emulate your in-store experience online as well. So if you have a quality retail shop, make sure the quality of your online experience, both for a laptop and for mobile, are high quality as well. Otherwise, you're going to turn people away and they're going to go to another site. It's super easy for people to abandon sites. Make sure you're giving people a reason to shop on your store and you're clearly communicating your brand values and making it easy for people to purchase. So here's an example of an e-commerce retail store that we built out. So you'll see certain things like very clear copywriting. They were updating a product at that time when we did this screen grab. You'll see very clear copywriting, very clear messaging, lots of different brand values. We're talking about the location where people are. So when people look at the site, they can connect immediately based on the geography, based on the personality and the brand experience that we're helping them communicate. People will be more likely to purchase from a brand like this because of this web experience versus lots of other e-commerce stores or retail stores that are, quite frankly, just bad layout, hard to purchase, hard to understand what the business is all about. Here's another example. These guys sell apparel, and we're adding lots of social proof. Once again, lots of content about the community. We're mentioning products that people would associate with based on their geography. So you want to leverage that. If you have sales, most of your sales are coming from a local community, hype that community up in your retail experience online so that when people get to your site, they can align with that and they'll be more likely to associate with your brand and have affinity for your business. Another common mistake that we hear, or a non-truth that we hear from retail store owners and just lots of people in general, is that paid advertising doesn't work. We have lots of conversation with people with this, say, hey, I tried paid advertising. Paid ads don't work. First of all, any advertising works. If anybody sees an ad, that's an impression. So there's some type of communication going on. Now, the real thing that people say is maybe it's not that paid ads don't work. It's that maybe paid ads weren't profitable for your business. That can definitely be a thing, right? You can have an ad that's effective, but if the economics don't allow for you to make money on the back end of that, then it's not an effective paid ad. It doesn't mean paid advertising doesn't work. So here's just a few screenshots of clients we've worked with where we're seeing massive improvements in their revenue and profitability from paid ads alone. Left one is Google and Pinterest. The middle one is Google alone. The one on the right is Meta alone. So we can definitely get amazing results with paid advertising if it's done properly. You can't expect just to have never done marketing before and just put some products up and expect all of a sudden you're going to make a ton of money. It's got to be done the right way. Another mistake we see local retailers and e-commerce businesses see or experience is that there's no marketing automation. So we've got a leaky bucket up here as the picture. So let's say we were talking about local retail store in-person conversion rates can be anywhere to 20 to 30, in some cases 40%. Depends on the store, but those are some industry averages. That's when people walk into your brick and mortar store. Those are the percentages for them converting. Online, it's much worse. It's a lot harder. Typical e-commerce conversion rates for retailers are about 2%. So let's say if you crush it and you've got a 5% conversion rate, that means that 95% of people when they visit your site are not buying. So you need to have marketing automation in place where you can capture their customer information. Hopefully you are seeing a theme here. Capture their customer information and then market to them over time so you can turn visitors into subscribers, subscribers into buyers, and buyers into lifelong fans and ambassadors for your business. Another mistake we see local retailers and e-commerce businesses make is not hiring experts. So you'll see some medical icons on the left, and this is an image representing that we're all internet doctors. And you know, anytime you get a pain in your knee, first thing you do is Google, and all of a sudden you've got a incurable disease, and you know you're in a bad mood because you think you have something crazy, and then finally you go to a doc and they're like, no, you just bruised your knee, it's not a big deal. Or vice versa, you think that something is pretty simple and it's going to go away, and then you go to a doc and you realize it's actually something serious and it needs to be treated. Marketing is kind of similar. Lots of business owners don't know what they need until they consult with people who have been there and done that and helped other businesses in their shoes get to the next step. So we've got a few examples of clients we've worked with that are all just raving reviews where they're basically saying in lots of these cases their business was stagnant or declining, and then once we were able to start putting marketing automation and optimizing their website and building out effective paid advertising, we can increase their revenue and profitability. All right, let's talk through a few different growth marketing stages. So depending on where you're at, there are different ideas of how you can grow. If you're just starting out and you have time to grow your business, but you don't have much money, you don't have much budget for paid advertising or different ways to grow, that's going to require some additional resources, but you do have some time on your hands, there's a few things you definitely want to do. First off, get a Google business profile. That's where you can store your address, your hours that you're open, different information so that when people are searching for you on Google, they will find the right information about your business. You don't want people showing up at your door when you're closed, and you want people showing up when you're open. You also want to make sure your phone number is accurate, contact information is there. All that stuff's super important. You can do some basic search engine optimization. There are tools you can use where you can learn what types of keywords people are searching for in your community, and then you can optimize your website a bit for that. Simple things like putting the keywords you are targeting in your headlines, in your copywriting, in your alt tags, in your meta descriptions, all those different places that will allow Google to see that you are a good place, a good resource for those keywords. And then organic social media, you definitely want to do that across platforms where it makes sense. We talked about Instagram Reels, TikTok videos, and YouTube Shorts. Those are great placements to be. If there's other platforms that you have time for, you definitely want to be there. That said, we typically recommend going deeper instead of wider, where let's say it's better to just focus on understanding and really going after Instagram Reels instead of trying to post sporadically on 5 different platforms and never making any progress. Okay, so you've graduated to the next level. Now we can start talking about partnerships. Are there different local businesses in your community that you can partner with in a cooperative way? So maybe not a direct competitor, but somebody who has a similar audience as you, and you can get in front of their audience as well. We were just communicating with a business that sells art, so a local art gallery. We were talking about how they can partner with a local mixologist and a restaurant that has really good oysters, and let's say a new party space, and they all get together and host a really cool event where you can invite everybody's audience collectively, you can promote it, and then consumers can have a really cool experience. They get exposed to 4 different brands, and your business now can leverage the audience across all 4 businesses and not just your own. Influencers can be incredible online and for local retailers. If you connect with the right ones, you can get great content, you can get exposure, you can also amplify that content through paid advertising if you're doing it the right way. That said, be careful because there is a very wide breadth of budget requirements. 2 influencers can look and act the same way with their content. One might charge you $1,000 for a post, one might charge you $10,000 for a post. Somebody else might just want a discount at your store. So you need to find the right influencers and really make sure that you are vetting them thoroughly. And then also you might want to start paying for advertising on one platform. For local retail, Google is a great place to be. You're going to get your highest intent customers, lowest hanging fruit, people who are searching for the types of products you're selling, the type of business that you have. You can do local marketing exceptionally well with Google if it's set up with all the right things we talked about: copywriting, messaging, offers, all that. Okay, you've got all that stuff in place. Let's move to the next level. Now you want to be focusing on omni-channel marketing. You definitely want to tie together the offline and online experience for consumers. You want to make sure you have your email and SMS automations in place, welcome flow, abandoned cart flow, post-purchase flow. If you want to get funky, you can start adding browse abandoned flows. You can do different flows based on when people signed up. You can do birthday flows, all sorts of stuff you can do. But definitely start with welcome, abandoned cart, and post-purchase. And now you can start graduating to running ads on multiple platforms. Once you have one dialed in, it's important to diversify. Because we don't own the biggest platforms in the world, we don't own Meta, we don't own Google. If one of those platforms, for some reason, decides that your business is no longer allowed to run on that platform, or if the algorithms change and performance drops off, you want to have another leg to stand on. You want to have another platform so that you're diversified and that you can also get better results and be in front of customers and potential customers across different platforms and placements. Cool, so now let's talk about what we believe is the most scalable and consistent and repeatable way to generate sales, and that's paid advertising. I've got a pic of our friend Taylor Swift down here saying that she disagrees, and here's why. So if you're a local retailer and you're third cousins with Taylor Swift and she starts hyping you up at her concerts and promotes you on Instagram, you're gonna get a lot more exposure than if you just start running Google ads for $1,000 a month. So of course there are exceptions, but for most local businesses and retailers and e-commerce businesses, paid advertising is the fastest and most reliable way to grow your sales. Why is that? These platforms have massive audiences. They have massive, very sophisticated targeting technology that we can leverage. And when we can build an ad that is designed to get somebody to convert and we can show it to the right person at the right time, we're very likely to get that purchase, or at least get them to raise their hand and say they're interested. They can sign up for marketing, and then over time we can get them to purchase. So that said, there are right ways to do it, there are wrong ways to do it, but when you do it right, it's a money machine. So, you know, the way we think about this is if you can put $1 in a machine, let's take an ATM, right? But instead of pulling money out, you put $1 in, but every time you do that, it gives you $2 out. Who would not want to do that, right? You would want to do that all day. You'd get as many dollars as you can and just keep doing that over and over and over again. And when paid advertising is dialed in, it's a money machine for a business. You can just crank up as many customers as you can, generate more revenue, generate more profit, and really scale in a big way. So how can you do it profitably? That's the question, because there is a massive difference between setting up an ad on Meta and maybe boosting a Facebook post versus having a sophisticated strategy where you're focusing on creative and copy and audience targeting and a robust approach where you are able to get in front of the right people at the right time and build your brand over time. How can you do that? They're very different things. So how can you do it profitably? Well, the first thing is you need to understand your media and marketing math. Super simple, right? Your profit has to be higher than your cost. That's number one thing. Super simple, right? But then when we dial that down for digital marketing or marketing in general, it looks a little bit different. Lifetime value of a customer. How much money do you make from a customer? What does that revenue look like? What's the lifetime value of that customer? That has to be greater than your CPA, which is your cost to acquire that customer, plus your COGS, your cost of goods sold. So there's a couple of different ways you can look at this, but LTV has got to be greater than CPA and COGS. And if you can dial that in, then you can scale that up to the moon. There's different ways to calculate LTV. One simple way is you can just look at your revenue for the past 5 years or 3 years or whatever snapshot you're looking at, divide that by the number of customers you have. That's one very simple way for you to get an average LTV. There's more sophisticated ways, but that's a super simple way to do it. And then once you do that, make sure that that is higher than your CPA plus your COGS. Do this. What is the strategy around it? Those questions are sort of for completely separate presentations, because we could spend hours and hours and hours just talking about one facet of paid advertising. We could do a full course just on copywriting, or just on creative creation, or just on targeting with these platforms, or just on offers. But at the end of the day, the 3 key things that you need to have a successful paid advertising approach is going to be number 1, you need a website that converts. That's simple. If you are driving super high quality traffic, even very efficiently at low cost, but nobody's converting on your site because you don't have a product that people want to buy, nothing else is going to work. You need to have a website that converts. Just like when somebody walks into your store, you need to have, let's go old school, you need a cash register, you need a way for people to check out through your POS, you need somebody to greet them, you need products in your store that people want that will attract them in the store. So you need to have a website that converts, otherwise everything else is pointless. You're just gonna waste money. And a lot of the times we hear people say paid advertising doesn't work. It's not that the ads didn't work, it's that your website was not optimized. So when the right people were sent to your site that didn't buy because there were problems along the purchase pathway, people got to the site and they thought they were on the wrong site, or there were broken links or broken pages or whatever. There's tons of different reasons. So you need to have an optimized website. It's got to be responsive. That means easily viewable on mobile, desktop, laptop, all that. Next up, you need marketing automation. Once again, if we're going back to e-commerce or retail conversion rates that are about 2%, that means 98% of people coming to your site are not going to convert. So you need to have marketing automation built out so that you can generate subscribers from your visitor list and then over time sell to them. Lots of consumers, when they're first interested in a brand, they're not ready to buy right away. There's a consideration cycle that has to happen, and people have to go through the process of understanding emotionally why they're interested in this product, and then over time rationally making the decision to purchase. But that can take time. So if you can collect their email address or their phone number, or ideally both, you can then communicate to them over time, give them gentle nudges, and then when they're ready to buy, you can stay top of mind for that purchase decision. And then last up, you need an ad strategy that's gonna get the right people to your store, that communicates the right offers, that has the right copy, that is targeting the right people and sending them to your site in a way that things are consistent. You are maintaining the scent between the ad that you are running and the landing page experience, and then that maintains throughout the entire purchase pathway. So those are 3 key things to run any successful paid advertising strategy. So does anybody have any questions at all?
Yeah, what's your offer?
What's the offer? Yeah, so we grow Shopify stores, whether it's an e-commerce business or a local retail brick and mortar store, and we help them grow. So it really depends, depending on what clients are looking for. So we can come in some cases and say, hey, we're just gonna run your Google ads and help you grow your revenue that way. In some cases, we do everything that we talked about. We'll build out a full website from scratch. Let's say if it's somebody who has a new product idea, or it's a local retailer or e-commerce business where their website's not converting. We can come in and either optimize it or rebuild the whole thing from scratch. We'll do brand storytelling, we'll do copywriting, we'll look at positioning in the marketplace and make sure that they are positioned properly so that once we get everything else in place, people are gonna be ready to purchase. We can build out all the marketing automation, so email, SMS, all that stuff. We can do ongoing email and SMS marketing, and then layer on paid advertising, typically as the last leg of that table. Like that's usually the last thing we do because we need to have the foundation strong before we do anything else. If the foundation is broken, we can drive paid advertising, but that's typically not going to lead to success. Instead, we get a strong foundation, then we build the ads, and then once we start driving traffic, what's amazing about digital marketing is we can track performance pretty quickly. So we can see at the creative level, based on headlines or descriptions or different ways we're targeting, we can see what performance looks like. Ideally, we're looking at sales and actual revenue early on sometimes, especially with like local retailers. We might be looking at things like online visits or add to carts or even view through metrics for video as a proxy for that final sale. For brick and mortar stores, we'll also drive traffic in store. So we can optimize their Google ads so that when people are searching for, let's say, a retail store in Boise, Idaho, that store is going to show up higher than their competitors so that people are going to be more likely to visit.
So with current environment of artificial intelligence, ChatGPT-4 and all of this, how do you see the current marketing environment changing with that, and where do you see it going in the near future?
Sure, good question. So there has been in the industry lots of very siloed freelancers or agencies. So let's say there's lots of Facebook marketers where it's just all they do is just Facebook marketing and their Facebook ad agency. And there have been a lot of those in the past for a really good reason, because the setup required and the maintenance required for a successful Facebook ad campaign was very manual. You need to be checking it constantly. You need to have a very manual setup, and you're looking at data all day, just trying to figure out exactly what's going on and making lots of adjustments. AI and automation has allowed a lot of these platforms to be a little bit more hands-off. So there's less of the manual labor required, but in place of that, where we see the opportunity to help e-commerce and retailers grow in a bigger way is doing full service marketing for them. So instead of just saying, hey, we're just going to optimize your Facebook ads, even though you really need a better website, you really also need better email marketing automation, but since we only do Facebook, we'll tell you, but we can't really do it. Instead, we can lean on automation and AI to make take away some of the grunt work and focus more on strategy, brand storytelling, marketing foundation, and putting all that stuff into place.